Well, hello to everyone and welcome back to a brand new video. We're back with all the movies I saw in like July 2024 something. Part 2, we're at part 2 here, or whatever, part 2. And yeah, let's just begin with, alright, let's see where we go. We've got Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is probably one of the, I don't know, I was kind of walking into this movie. I'd heard like a lot of people talk about this movie. I'd heard that when I saw that the movie had like a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, I was just like, oh, it's pretty good for a horror movie, so I'm gonna check it out. And yeah, so when I was watching this movie, it was pretty cool. I mean, the movie starred Chris Hemsworth, which I thought was pretty cool, a bit unexpected and stuff, but it's basically about these teenagers, and they go in this cabin in the woods, like the movie's called, and then it's kind of a comedy movie, funny stuff happening there, but then it's kind of this like secret agent laboratory, I don't know, which kind of like controls the movie. I don't know, and it is kind of like the movie they kind of like controls. It's basically a cliche. It's basically a cliche filled horror movie on purpose. It's supposed to have a lot of cliches, and that's supposed to be the funny thing about the movie, and they do that well. This is a very creative horror movie, and it does some very unique things, but it's still just, a lot of people love this movie. I think that when I checked the reviews on Letterboxd, a few people gave this movie even like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think this is a good movie. I think it's like a 7 out of 10. It's not amazing in my opinion, but I think it's a good movie. So yeah, I'm gonna just put it there. Now we got Castaway with Tom Hanks. It's funny because I saw Life of Pi this month, and then I also saw Castaway. So apparently this was a really popular movie. I mean, it was like my dad. He was just like, "Have you seen Castaway?" And then I was just like, "No." And then he was like, "What? You haven't seen Castaway?" And I'm just like, "No." But I've heard about the movie, I said. And then I also saw that Spooky Astronauts video that she had on her like Letterboxd wrap up or whatever. She had seen the movie, and it's a movie that was apparently really, really popular that I hadn't heard of really that much. So I checked the movie out with my dad, and it's a good movie. Tom Hanks is kind of this, like kind of FedEx worker, I think, and basically. Okay, I don't want to try to spoil that much about this movie, but but I'm gonna say this because I think it's pretty, obvious. But yeah, so he's on a plane, and can you guess what happens next? Yes, the plane crashes, and then he's on the island, and Tom Hanks surviving on an island. That's what you get later on. So, it's I don't really know. It's this movie about this like Tom Hanks and his girlfriend, and when he comes back from this island and stuff, everything isn't the same, and it's kind of this. Obviously, it's a survival movie because he's on an island and he has to survive and stuff. But I don't know what to say. A few people think this movie is really good, very good. A few people think this movie is. But I don't know. It's just I kind of predicted the ending of the movie and stuff, and I don't really know what to say, but I think it's a good movie, so I'm gonna put it up there. Alright, and then next we got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. I mean, the first Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey movie, a movie that definitely not a lot of people liked. I watched that movie and I thought it was very bad. The first Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey movie is very bad, and when I had heard that the sequel was it was a much bigger improvement to the first movie. I mean, the first movie had like very bad acting. It had the like visuals and stuff in the movie weren't great. The masks in the movie were just terrible. But this movie, you can clearly see that. I mean, the movie has better visuals, has better cinematography. The acting is a lot better. It has, I think, a little bit of a better story and stuff. So there's a lot of things in this movie that are definitely 100% a lot better than the first movie. Also when it comes to the gore and the blood in this movie and the makeup and the, so it's, I don't really know what to say. I thought this movie was actually quite fun. It still has first movie has like a 2.9 out of 10 on Rotten Tomato, on IMDb. Last time I checked, I think. And I think that this movie has like a 4.7 out of 10. I think this movie... Sorry, I think this movie has like a 4.7 out of 10 on IMDb, which is... Keep on... What in the world? I think that this movie has like a 4.7 out of 10 on IMDb, and I don't really know what to say. A really big improvement from the first movie. I mean, like I said before, when it comes to the, but I don't know. I really, really liked Christopher Robin in this movie. I really, really liked his performance in this movie. I actually thought his acting in this movie was really good. And I just thought he was a very likable character. And for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason there's a lot of like main characters in the horror movies which I just don't think are likable. But I think that this is a very likable character for some reason. I don't know why, but I thought that his performance was very good in this movie, really good. So, and I think that obviously there's a lot of other people. This movie has a lot of blood, really much blood. I think the movie has a lot more blood than the first movie, and I think that it has some very intense scenes in this movie. I think that Pooh in this movie looks a lot better than he looks a lot. And when I say a lot, I do mean a lot better than he looks like in the first movie. And same with Tigger. He looks also pretty damn good in this movie. Same with Owl. The makeup and stuff, the visuals look a lot better, a lot better than the first movie. So, I don't really know what to say. I mean, this movie's story definitely isn't, like, great or anything. This movie still is a bit goofy. It still has its cheesy little lines. Like, Tigger is the one going around and he says bitch maybe, like, a lot of times throughout this movie. And, I mean, it is a bit cringe. It is a bit goofy and stuff. So, I don't know what to say. I wouldn't call the movie good, but I would actually call the movie okay, because the movie had some the movie has a lot of blood, and the blood looks pretty damn good in this movie, which I really, really like. I think the acting in this movie is pretty good, even though it's a bit like cheesy dialogue and stuff like that between the monsters and stuff. But overall, I mean, a huge improvement from the first movie. The first movie I gave like a 3 out of 10. This movie I'll give a 6 out of 10. So I thought it was okay. So let me just put it there, right? Yeah. Okay. Next up we've got Never Sleep Again. The Elm Street Legacy, I think this is called. And the thing about this is that this isn't really a movie. This is a documentary. And, but I still decided to have it on this list, on this tier list or whatever, because, I don't know. But this is it's not a movie, it's a documentary about, and they go through, I think, from the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie all the way to the 8th one, I think. And, it's a 4-hour-long documentary, I think, so it's a very long documentary, but it's really well made. I mean, you've got a lot of people like it's a document. It does what a documentary is supposed to do. I mean, you get to see like Heather Langenkamp here, who plays Nancy, in what is it called? In the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, you see Robert Englund, who is kind of talking in this movie and documentary or whatever. So it's a documentary which, I don't know, I think it's really good. It's really well done. And I don't think it's amazing or anything though, because I don't know, I just felt like I kind of wanted to see, you know, it was just something about it, it was just something about the documentary which I think they missed a bit, but still a really, really good documentary for Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's for the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise series, and it's very well made, so it's going up in really good. Next up we got Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers. Is that how it goes? I don't know. Well, at least, basically. I think I also did a review on this movie. It's up on my channel if you want to see like more information and stuff, my thoughts on this movie, but Jeepers Creepers, I just want to say this. Listen, I know a lot of people have already said this, like in the beginning on the videos, but yes, I'm very aware of the controversy between the director. Not okay at all and stuff, but if we don't talk about that, I mean, this is still a pretty well-made monster movie. This is still a pretty well-made horror movie, and it's got Justin Long in it, and actually that's the only actor I know that's within this movie. Justin Long is one of the main characters in this movie, and then he has kind of this his sister in the movie, which is played by, I don't know her name, but it's a movie that, I mean, the Jeepers Creepers song, when it's used in this movie very well, and it's pretty funny. It's because I don't know, it's just and I don't really know what to say. It's a pretty creative horror movie. I mean, we've got some stupid decisions, like the decision with the pipe, the tunnel, whatever it's called, in the beginning of the movie and stuff. But the movie's honestly quite creepy, because it has, like, the creep in this movie. I mean, he's got to, I don't really know. I mean, I think the movie's got some pretty damn good performances. I do think that the movie has some missed potential, definitely. And I think it's a good movie, but I don't think it's like amazing or anything, because I don't really know what to say. So yeah, I've heard Jeepers Creepers 2 is supposed to be quite okay, actually, for being a sequel, and I've heard Jeepers Creepers 3 is supposed to be very bad, and then I've heard Jeepers Creepers Reborn is supposed to be like terrible, so yeah, but I think the original Jeepers Creepers movie is a good movie, so yeah. Next up we've got Find Me Falling, which is basically a new Netflix movie. I was looking through Netflix or something, and then this was just a new movie that they had recently added on Netflix when I was looking through Netflix, and I don't really know what to say. This movie is basically about this, like, kind of singer. He used to be a singer, at least, to make songs and stuff, and he lives in Greece, I think, and it's basically this rom-com movie. It's comedy. It's a comedy movie. It's got the romance in there, and it's basically I don't really know what to say. I thought the comedy in this movie was pretty good, though. I laughed. I chuckled a few times. I think I laughed a few times and stuff. But I still felt like there was missed potential in the comedy. I felt a bit at least, and I felt that there was some missed potential in the dialogue and like the lines and the words in this movie or whatever. So, and it's kind of a pretty generic movie. I mean, I've seen this before. I've seen other rom-coms before, and it's basically this guy's in Greece. He kind of meets this girl, and I don't really know what to say. But overall, I felt like this movie had quite a lot of missed potential, missed opportunities to make the movie at least to go up to like good or something. But this movie does have a pretty generic story and stuff. It's something I predicted the ending of the movie. I predicted what was going to happen and stuff. So it's I don't really know. It's quite a lot of missed potential. I think the movie has a pretty like generic story and stuff, and I didn't find the characters to all be that. I wasn't invested in the characters really that much, or even the main characters. I just thought they were fine. So yeah, not really something I'll recommend, but it had some moments in the movie that kind of made it stand out a bit. So yeah. Okay. Next up, we've got Lasse-Majas detektivbyrå, det första mysteriet. And as I just talked Swedish to, and this is basically another Swedish movie that I have on Netflix, and I saw it. It's basically this movie about this boy and this girl, and they're in this new school, and then there's kind of this book, and then the book has gone like stolen, and it's a very very rare book, and it's a very special book, and it gets stolen, and basically these two kids or whatever in the school have to kind of guess who stole the book and stuff. So they have to go around and ask people in the school and stuff. And I don't know why, but this is a Swedish movie that I used to love when I was a lot younger, and I definitely see a few mistakes with the movie now when I'm older and stuff, and now when I'm a lot more interested in movies and stuff. But I think this is a very good movie. I think it's very fun. I don't know why. I like the music choice in this movie. I like the characters. I like how the movie looks. I mean, it's a very like colorful movie. The school like feels like very modern and stuff, and I like it a lot. I think it's a very good and fun movie. So yeah, I don't really know what to say. Next up, we've got Girl House. Girl House is a movie basically about this. Where did I hear about this movie? I don't really know that much, but Girl House is a movie about this girl who basically she gets kind of like invited into one of these houses where you know, this one of these houses where a lot of like people live there together and stuff, sleep there and stuff like that. I don't know what they're called. There was a movie that I saw that kind of had that thingy, which was called like A&P or Amp House Massacre or something. I don't know how you say it, but and then basically it's the house is for like, it's basically for this dirty site, whatever. So everyone, it's basically for this, you know, the ghost sites and stuff. So it's basically it's basically this house, and then it's like they are on this like sex site and stuff. And it's a pretty generic, and the movie does become pretty generic. So basically, and then in the beginning of the movie, you see this boy who kind of like gets bullied by two girls or something. I think something like that. And then he gets, he kind of like gets revenge on one girl. Stuff happened. I don't want to try to spoil too much, but and then basically. Throughout the movie, you kind of see this boy back again, and you see him going into this website and stuff. But then the movie goes from like one of these. The movie goes from like a weird movie when you see a lot of inappropriate stuff and stuff, and then it goes into a horror movie quite quickly. So basically, and then this guy kind of breaks into the house or whatever. It's a pretty creepy movie. I mean, it's something that I've seen before. It's a movie that I can predict what was happening. I thought the movie was a bit too long and stuff, and it's something that I've seen before. It's a premise that I think that I've seen before. No, but even though I haven't done that, maybe, but then it's something that I can it's something that I can see a lot of people having an idea for making a movie. So having this idea if they're gonna make a movie. So it's pretty generic, I think, the story, but what this movie did good, I think, is the performances, especially between one of the characters, the main characters, the main characters in this movie called Loverboy. And yes, he's called that in the movie. Well, obviously that's not his real name in this movie or anything, but he gets called that. And I thought the performance his performance was really good in this movie. Same with some of the other actors. I thought were pretty good performances. So pretty generic movie. It's something that I think I've seen before, but it's an okay movie though. So I don't really know what to say. I'm gonna put it on okay. Yeah. Next up, we've got Guys at Parties Like It, and yes, that's literally what this movie is called. Guys at Parties Like It, and this is basically a movie about these. This is one of the most teen horror movies out there, probably. Definitely. It's about these kind of teenagers. Well, yeah, they go to a party, obviously, and they are being teenagers. They talk about inappropriate things, and they kind of, get drunk and stuff like that. And basically, then they play truth or dare. And no, it's not gonna be the same thing as this movie, but they play truth or dare or something like that. And then one of the dads is to do a teenage thing. It's like go up in this room with this one boy or whatever, and basically then the boy gets creepy and stuff, and this kind of girl has to kind of escape from this boy or whatever meanwhile when there's a party downstairs and stuff. I don't really know, and that seems pretty interesting. That seems like it could be pretty exciting and interesting to watch and stuff, but it's definitely a premise that I've seen before, and I think the movie goes on for too long because I have seen this before a lot of times, and it's nothing new for me. I mean, the teenagers, the acting in this movie is okay. I mean, there's one character in this movie who has an evil character in this movie, who has very good acting sometimes, but overall, all the acting together in the movie is just okay. I mean, the characters, most of the characters in this movie are just really annoying. I know they're teenagers, but they're still just really annoying, and it's a premise that I've seen before really much, and it's just nothing new. It's nothing exciting. It's just really not my type of movie. So sorry, but I'm gonna put this movie on. Oh shit, no, never mind, don't I? God, maybe I think that I was maybe a bit too harsh on this movie. I'm gonna put it on very bad. I used to think that this movie was terrible, but now when I think it's not a terrible movie, but it's just really not my kind of horror movie. I knew the movie wasn't going to be good when I went into it, but I thought that I was going to think it would be okay at least, but it's a very bad movie. It's not something I recommend. So yeah, next up we got Evil Dead 2013. Evil Dead is a franchise. Evil Dead is a horror movie franchise where I've done an Evil Dead ranking video when I rank all the movies so far that we have on this channel. So if you want to check that out, you can do that. I don't know, you'll find the videos very new, so you'll find it somewhere. But Evil Dead is, I think I've said this before, Evil Dead is a horror franchise that it's very weird. The first movie, it has a bit of goofy things in it, but it still has quite a lot of horror in the movie, definitely. The second Evil Dead movie, which is very popular, mostly it's the pick for everyone's favorite Evil Dead movie, goes a lot in the slapstick way, or like I like to call it, splatstick. It's basically a very gory and bloody movie, but it's just extremely silly and goofy, and it goes a lot for that comedy. I mean, Ash Williams is kind of an iconic, horror character in So, but Evil Dead 2 just isn't really for me. The comedy in the movie, the humor in the movie doesn't really work for me. The third movie is basically a bit like the second movie, just probably not as silly. Still a silly movie, still goes for the comedy, but it still has the horror things in it. And then we've got this movie, which is basically the complete opposite. It's like nothing silly about this movie, except maybe the Deadites in this movie, I don't know, they have some weird dialogue and stuff like that, but so yeah, a very weird horror franchise, because a few of the movies are very serious. Actually, only two of the movies are very serious, while the other three movies, most of them are very silly and goofy and stuff. And this is if everyone's gonna wants to pick a favorite Evil Dead movie, which isn't the second movie, then I think that this one, Evil Dead 2013, is going to be the one that gets picked. Then if it's not the Evil Dead 2, but this is a movie that, I mean, I do appreciate. It's a very much horror movie, definitely. I mean, it's got a lot of swearing in the movie, it's got a lot of blood in the movie, it's got a lot of horror elements in the movie and stuff like that. A lot of horrific things in the movie, a lot of blood, a lot of scary things, a lot of horror movie stuff. I don't really know what to say. A very serious movie compared to the other ones, and a pretty dark movie. But even though this movie did have a lot of like horror stuff in it and a lot of blood, it was a very serious movie, and I thought that they were going a bit too far with how just serious and how dark, how cruel this movie is, and just kind of how dark this movie is. Not in tone, obviously, but I think I really talked about this in my ranking of these movies, but I think that they overreact a bit with it, because sometimes, especially like the opening scene of the movie, there's like extremely much swearing, and really they're trying to make like extremely creepy and scary, but it's just, in my opinion, it's just a bit silly. So it has some very extreme moments, but because they are trying to make me like seem very creepy, and you know that these Deadites they're trying to seem very creepy and stuff very much in the movie, it kind of just goes a bit too far for me. It's a bit too over the top for me, so I still think it's a good movie, but I don't really know what to say. Next we got the last movie that I'm going to talk about on this video, at least. And I'm going to continue with this list later on, because we've still got some movies left. But now we've got Train to Busan. Is that how you say it? I don't know. I'm not that big fan of zombie movies. There's definitely a few zombie movies that I like. I mean, I haven't even seen the classic zombies movies yet. I know, it's crazy. I haven't seen Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, or whatever. I haven't seen those classic zombie movies, the ones from the 70s and stuff. I haven't seen 28 Days Later yet. I know. I'm sorry. I'm going to watch 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later, at least, sometime in life. I just don't know when. But zombie movies, I don't know. I watched a movie called The Sadness. I think I've done a review on that movie. I've done a review on that movie on this channel. And that's a bit like a zombie movie. It's just one of the most extreme and violent zombie movies probably like ever made. But I really like The Sadness. I gave the movie like a 9 out of 10, despite the movie being very extreme and gross and stuff. But Train to Busan is a movie, also a very popular zombie horror movie. I think it has like a 7.6 or a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb, and for a horror movie, that is most of the time really good. So a lot of people really like this movie. I think a lot of people gave the movie like a 9 out of 10 or something. I think that one person that I thought was following on Letterboxd or something even gave this movie a 10 out of 10. So it's basically it's a pretty cool idea for me. It's still pretty basic though. It's these two people, and I think they're going to like visit their grandma or something. So they go on this train. It's this this father and this and the father's daughter, whatever. And they go on this train, and on the train they're kind of well, there's like kind of a zombie apocalypse. There's this big virus that is happening, and yeah, it's someone gets infected on the train, and then zombies are on the train, and basically throughout like maybe half of the movie or a bit more than half of the movie, they're on this train trying to survive these zombies. That could either seem really interesting, or it could just seem very generic and boring, but they do it in a very well way. I mean, the acting performances in this, the performances in this movie are great. The cinematography in this movie is great. The movie looks very good. The movie has some very good visuals. It's a pretty scary movie, you know, because you 100% root for the characters. You 100% root for the child, the main child character in this movie, and also the dad. So I think that this is a very good movie, but I don't think it's like amazing, because zombies on a train, that's about it, you know. It's kind of, we don't really know how this like kind of a zombie virus thingy started, I think. And I mean, it's quite a hard explanation to do that in zombie movies, because it's not extremely realistic that someone turns into a zombie in real life and infects everyone in real life. Obviously, that's not so realistic, but I also thought that the movie, it's just zombies on a train, and that's about it. But even though they executed it very, very well and stuff, the movie did feel a bit too long, because it was basically the same thing again and again. And I know that sounds quite stupid when I say it, because the movie is about zombies on the train, and that's what else do you want, kind of. But even though I think that this is a very good movie, I just feel like I kind of wanted something a bit more and stuff. So I don't really know what to say. I do understand why people like this movie a lot. I do understand why the movie has very good reviews on IMDb, and it's a pretty damn popular horror movie, I think. So I think it's a very good movie, but it's just, it's something that I've seen before. So it's something that I can at least predict someone doing. So I don't really know what to say. Yeah.